It's time for a physics problem, and this one's about space. Everybody likes space. So the question is, suppose you want to launch a 1 kilogram mass into space, into low Earth orbit, not just to space, low Earth orbit. And you could either do that from Antarctica. Why would you do it down there? Because there's no land in the North Pole, so you got to do it in the South Pole. And then you're not rotating. Or you could do it from the equator. And what's the energy difference there? So how much energy do you save by launching at the equator? So let's start off. Here's my Earth. There's the equator. There's Antarctica. There's my object. I'm going to launch it up to a low Earth orbit, which is not drawn to scale because it's too tiny. And I want to calculate the energy. And then I want to do the same thing launching from the equator, and we'll talk about what's the difference between launching from the equator. So the first off, if you talk about energy, what kind of problem is this? Well, it's probably a work energy problem. Yes, that is correct. It is a work energy problem. And now what's the first thing that you should write down when you write down work equals a change in energy? Yes, you should write down your system. So the system. And in this case, I'm going to have the system of the, I guess it's a rocket, I don't know. Let's just say mass. I'm going to call it a mass. Mass plus the Earth. Now, what kinds of energy do I have if I have those two in my system? Well, if I have the mass, I can have kinetic energy. So I can have kinetic energy. If I have the mass plus the Earth, there's a gravitational interaction between those two, and so I can have gravitational potential energy. Now, here we are using the better form of gravitational potential energy. We can't use mgy. That's only true for near the surface of the Earth. So I'm going to use U is negative g mass of the Earth times the mass of the payload over the distance between them r. And it has to be negative, and that has to do with making sure it's an attractive force and where the potential is 0 when they're an infinite distance away. It's just a choice, but that's the best choice to make, and don't do anything else. Now, if I do that, I'm going to have a problem, right? Because I'm going to start with my spacecraft right here, and it's going to end up in orbit. So this is going to get lower, or no, it's going to get greater. It's going to get less negative because R is going to increase, and the kinetic energy is going to increase. So where did that energy come from? Well, there's going to have to be some type of internal energy too. So let's say there is a delta E internal, and we don't really know a formula for that, but we want to find that, right? When we say how much energy is it going to take, that's our energy. Alternatively, you could say, what's the work done on the object? Actually, I think I'll do that. So let's say there is some external work done on the object. I don't really care what the force is. I'm just going to calculate the work. So that means I have the work is the change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy. And then it's going to start from rest. It's going to end up with the velocity. We'll call that V2. And so we can do all that stuff. But before we go to the work energy equation, I need to know how fast it's going, right? I can find out the change in gravitational potential energy because I have h. It starts at the radius of the Earth, and it ends up at the radius of the Earth plus h. So that's fine. But the kinetic energy starts at rest, but it doesn't end at rest. So what is the velocity needed to have a spacecraft or a mass in low Earth orbit? And then we can use that in our kinetic energy equation. So now we're going to jump over here to Newton's second law. F net is mass times acceleration. So let's just draw the spacecraft right here just to make it a little bit easier. So at that point, it has some velocity v2, and it has a gravitational force, I'll just call that Fg, pulling on it. Also, it's moving in a circle. So at this point, I could pick this as my x-axis, and this is my y. It's really difficult to do it generically because those directions change as it rotates around the Earth. But at this instant, this is fine. We can do this little trick. So I know that's true, and there's the only force on there is the gravitational force. So the gravitational force, the magnitude of that, is going to be g m over r squared. And that's going to be equal to the mass times acceleration, but this is the acceleration for moving in a circle. So AC, the centripetal acceleration, is going to be v squared over r. And I'm using lowercase r. I'm reserving capital R for the radius of the Earth. So if I put those two things together, this is my only force in the negative x direction, and this is my acceleration in the negative x direction. I get negative g, mass of the Earth, mass, over r. Now, what is r? R is going to be R plus h squared, right? It's the sum of this distance plus a little bit extra, 400 kilometers. It's not that big, but, and that's going to be equal to negative the mass. This is the mass of the payload, and then I have the velocity, which is v squared. I'm going to call that v2. That's what I'm going to solve for, over r, which is r plus h. The negatives cancel, the mass cancels, and I want to solve for v2. I actually don't even need v2. I only need v2 squared. So let's just leave it at v2 squared. So I'm going to put it over here. v2 squared is going to be equal to, notice one of those cancel, and I get g, mass of the Earth, over r plus h. And let's put a box around that because we're going to use that later. Box. Okay. So now we have that from Newton's second law. We can go back and apply that to our work energy equation up here. So this is going to be equal to K2 minus K1 plus U2 minus U1. And remember, I want to find that work. So K1 is 0. It starts from rest. So other than that, I get work. Let's put in everything we know. 1/2 mv2 squared. See, v2 squared. I don't need to take the square root of the square because I knew where it was going because I've done problems like this before. That's 0. U2 is going to be minus g, mass of the Earth, mass of the payload, over the final r, which is going to be r plus h, minus a negative, so plus g, mass of the Earth, mass, over the initial potential, which is just r. And you'll notice that I know the mass, I know v2, because I know all those values. I know g, I know the mass, I know everything in here, so I can calculate everything. I'm done. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just put in our expression for v2. v2 is going to be 1/2 m, and then v2 squared, I'm sorry, it's going to be g me over r plus h minus g me m over r plus h, look at that, plus g me m over r. So here I have this minus that, and they're the same thing except for the half. So this is going to be 1/2 minus 1. So I actually can write this. You don't have to, but I want to. So it's going to be equal to negative 1/2 g. I can factor out the g. Let's do that. You don't have to do that. I'm going to factor out g me m out of the whole thing. G me m, and then I have this plus this is negative 1/2. So I have negative 1 over 2 r plus h, and then I have plus 1 over r. And I didn't run out of room. I know g. I know the mass of the Earth. I know the mass is a 1 kilogram thing, and then I know those other values. So let's just go ahead and calculate that. And then we'll come back and we'll do what happens if you launch from the equator. So, you could put this in your calculator, but I'm going to use Python just because it makes things a lot easier. So I'm going to switch over to Python, calculate this, write down our energy. This is the work done on the object to get it into low Earth orbit. And then we'll redo it for the equator. So jumping over here to web v Python. Okay, so I'm just going to start, I'm using this just as a calculator. I'm going to enter all my values, 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11 for g. Mass of the Earth, I call it me. It's 5.9, what did I put? 5.97 times 10 to the 24th. I'm pretty sure that's right. It might be wrong. I got a little spot on my face. Let's see. M is 1. R is 6.3. It is 6.3 times 10 to the 6th. H is 400 kilometers, so E times 10 to the 3rd. Okay, let's just put it all in now. So work is going to be equal to G times ME times M times negative 1 divided by 2 times R plus H. You see how it's the same thing as the equation, and then plus 1 over R, and we can print that. Whoa. R 2 times that plus 1 over R. We almost made a mistake. Print South Pole, I can't spell Antarctica sometimes. South Pole energy equals W joules. .34 times 10 to the 7th joules for 1 silly kilogram. Okay. We're going to come back to this. Let's go and look at what would be different if I launched from the equator. Now, I have to use an advantage, right? Because if I want to launch from the equator, and I'm going to redraw my picture. So let's look at it from the, let's say, the North Pole. So here's my Earth, and then here's the North Pole. I'll just put a little, just so you know it's the North Pole. Right, there's that little barber's pole there. I don't know what it's called. So let's say that the Earth is rotating this way. I always get this backwards, but it doesn't really matter. So let's say it's rotating that way. So if I launch right here from the equator, the object starts off with an initial velocity that's not 0. So we need to find the initial velocity, and then when we put that in here, that's just gonna have a positive value right here. I mean, that's negative value here. It's gonna decrease the total amount of work. So really, the only thing that's gonna change is I'm gonna add it over here, minus 1/2 m v1 squared. That's the initial kinetic energy. I moved it over there, okay? So this stuff I've already calculated. So all I have to do is calculate the initial kinetic energy of the object, subtract it from my previous answer, and that's my change. Okay, so we have just some basic calculations to do. I think I can erase all that, right? Or I can at least erase all this. So let's assume that the angular velocity of the Earth is 1 revolution per 24 hours. That's not true, okay? The rotation rate of the Earth, that's the rotation rate of, that's how long it takes for the sun to get back into the same position in the sky, which is not the same as the rotation rate. It actually takes the Earth less than 24 hours to rotate. But it doesn't matter, we're just going to use 24 hours because I don't want to get into all that stuff. But I do want to get this in radians per second. If I get this in radians per second, I can use that to find the velocity v1. So let's just first convert revolutions into radians. So I have 2 pi radians is 1 revolution. And then I need to convert hours into seconds. So I know 1 hour is 60 minutes. And I know 1 minute is 60 seconds. So the minutes cancel, the hours cancel, and I get my angular velocity in radians per second. And you can't see that. Now you can. Okay. So once I have omega, I can find V1. V1 is going to be omega times r, right? Because if I have this rotating with an angular velocity omega and I multiply by the radius, I get the linear velocity of that, and that's what I wanted. So that's not too hard, right? Now I can just go ahead and calculate K1. It's going to be 1/2 m v1 squared, and then we can subtract that from our thing. So I'm going to put all this into Python just because I don't want to do it manually, and we can calculate the change in kinetic energy. Switching to Python, here we go. Okay, so let's first off calculate omega. I'm going to put it as a w, even though it's a lowercase w, right, for omega. I don't want to type out omega. It's going to be 2 times pi times, well, that's it, divided by 60 times 60, which is 3,600. And let's just print that, because I know what it should be, but I want to make sure I get the right answer. And that's in radians per second. I think that's wrong. Oh, I forgot the 24. The 24, it's 1, so I have to divide that by 24 too. That's why. The good thing I printed it out. Yeah, I knew it was something times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so that's better. So now I can calculate V1. V1 is going to be omega times r, and then K1 is going to be equal to 1/2 times m times V1 squared. And let's just print K1. This is going to be our energy savings. And that's going to be K1 in joules. And then let's print out the second, the other energy. Print equator energy equals. And this is going to be equal to W, the work we had before, minus K1 joules. So I save 1 times 10 to the 5th joules. Okay, so but you see right here, the south pole energy is 3.348 times 10 to the 7th, 3.338 times 10 to the 7th. So it's not a huge difference, but the thing is, every little difference matters. That's why we want to launch closer to the equator rather than further away from the equator. I should get my globe, but I don't have it. So where do they launch in the United States? They would like to launch from Florida, and that's so that it's closer to the equator, and also so that you launch going east, because that's the direction the Earth rotates. And then if there's a problem, you have a problem over the ocean, not over the land. So, I mean, we do launch from other places too, but that's our best place. So there you go. Energy savings. You might want to think about what if you launch from a mountain, how much energy do you save? And again, we're not including all these things about energy losses due to the air resistance. This is just on an airless planet. The end.